Randy Garn, thank you so very much for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Jared.
Why don't you just give us a little bit of a background about what you're doing right now and a little bit about your background that relates to disrupting business and also the HR industry.
Yeah, we're building a pretty fun company called Skippy, and it's a communication software. It's a marketing technology, but it's also for internal communication for a lot of companies as well. So it's called Skippy. And we created this a little over 3 years ago, and really started taking off 2 years ago. But I mean, we're getting ready to launch it in several different verticals. But it literally is the most powerful communication tool out there. A lot of people, we've been using email forever, but email open rates are completely diving. It just every year it just seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So the most way that people are communicating now, once you build a relationship, is via text. Yeah. And so Skippy really is a really amazing text mobile marketing solution that also does voice broadcasting and allows you to do a lot of fun things with communication.
That's awesome. So I've noticed that in recruiting, I get candidates immediately if I send them a text message. If I email them, it might take a couple days, but I text them and I get that response. So I'm curious a little bit about how you envision Skippy helping the HR profession, and just maybe even taking a step back. What do you think of the HR profession, and how does it help? And as an entrepreneur and an investor and all these things that you're doing, what's your perspective of HR, and how do you think Skippy can also help advance the profession?
Well, honestly, as being an entrepreneur, but you need to think about your business. It is your biggest asset is your people, 100%. And so they need to know, every one of them need to be amazing and know exactly where they're going. And so one of the things that I never try to do, I never hire on somebody that's out of a job. Mm-hmm. We really, and so that's where the HR side comes in so handy, both on the recruiting side, but also internally. You want to retain the best, and you want to recruit the very best. Yeah. And so that's how you grow huge companies. So for me, human development, corporate training, leadership, I've always been I've always loved that, and I think that's actually contributed to a lot of success.
Interesting. Okay, so tell us a little bit about Skippy. How is it helping change the face of recruiting? And you have campaigns that you can use for sales and for marketing, but how do you envision Skippy helping in the HR vertical?
We actually have some pretty awesome HR professionals using it, and one of the ways is, and you mentioned it, not a lot of people are answering their phones. Yeah. And especially if they don't know the number. So if you're trying to build a relationship with somebody, one, the email's getting lost. Two, you can go to LinkedIn and try to reach them there. But again, that's a cold relationship that you have to warm up. But if there's a way for you to really build a relationship and get to know them, the best way to do that is by getting their cell phone number and them having them put your number in there, and then having you be able to follow up with them via text. So for example, if you have a job that you want to place and you've got 300 candidates, you're going to email them and be like, hey, let's see who's going to reply and get back to me. But if you could literally text them, and in our technology, you could text all 300 of those candidates, very personal. Just because you can automate it doesn't mean it's not personal, right? Because if not, then you're going to have to fat finger all 300 of them, and that's going to be the most effective now.
Yeah, right.
It really is. And so you can actually text all 300, but they get a one-on-one message. So it literally sends each one individually. So you can say, hey Bob, hey Jim, hey Stan, and it's really, really awesome. And you can send a video and a PDF, so it's just not contextual. You actually can do video and documentations and links and tracking, and then organize that, and then follow up with them a week from there, 30 days from there, and just be able to keep in touch with them in a really, really awesome way.
That's cool. Okay, so do you have API integration with other applicant tracking systems?
We're actually, that's a humongous focus of ours right now, is integration. Okay. We're really kicking off mobile in a big way, and integration. Those are two of our main focuses, is to be able to do that. But we're fully Zapier integrated, if you know much about Zapier. So I'm sure that there's some plugins with that.
Awesome. Okay, so I really like this idea of recruiting. My curious is, from a leadership perspective, how can leaders manage their people and performance management through texting? Is there a way to, in your opinion, be a more effective manager by texting your employees?
I mean, 100%. You think about it, like we have a meeting every single Monday with the whole company. And we do send out a text the night before saying, hey guys, we're going to be covering this topic, come prepared. So we'll send it out either Sunday night or Saturday to have them become prepared for maybe a topic that we're going to discuss. You can literally send out a text to follow up with them with a fun video, personalized video, to be able to contact every single employee that you have and reach out to them in such a way that they're like, my gosh, you know what? The CEO is thinking of me. Or, I'm so glad that Randy thought of me that way. And, when you grow your company, we had over 700 employees at one time. If I would have had Skippy then, it would have been awesome. We'd actually do a voice recording and send it out. So when they came in, it was on their phones. But it wasn't as personal as if you could just get a text with a video and a fun link. I could shoot a video right now and then text it out to 3,000 people. Wow. And so as a CEO, being able to just keep in touch with people, it's really, really effective.
Okay, so I meet with an employee, we talk about a performance goal, and then I could schedule a campaign that would then remind them of those the metrics, right? So like by this date, you're supposed to hit this goal, and I'm going to follow up with you by this point, and then they get a text message that comes to them.
You just nailed it. Yeah.
Man.
You can organize all of it for the whole year. So quarterly, you can set up, hey, I want to make sure that I've got to meet with him again in Q2, Q3, Q4, and actually set that up at the first of the year when they're hired. And so you can organize that for all your employees. And then exactly, if you have a one-on-one meeting with them and there's a specific goal, you can be like, okay, I just want to remind you, we're going to do this on May 15th. You're going to actually have 400 cells. They're going to be in. And that's our goal, man. That's our stretch goal. So I'm just gonna let's make sure that we do that. And then you don't even have to redo that. Go back, and Skippy is awesome because you can do it on mobile or desktop. Go back, put it in, and then you'll remind yourself. You'll actually surprise yourself. Ping, hey John, how are you doing on your goal? Are you close to 400? And send that out to him 7 days before, and then he'll start sweating bullets, and he'll start performing. If we measure stuff, it increases, and so Skippy really helps you to do that.
That is crazy. Okay, what about advancing a culture? You talked a little bit about, hey, we got a meeting tomorrow. Here are the things we're going to talk about. Here's just a text to remind you to be prepared for it. So it helps with meetings and agendas. How have you seen Scipio improve a company's culture and overall engagement with employees?
I mean, not just with employees, but with your customers too. Because if you're the CEO, if you're the owner of the business, your customers are who?
Yeah.
They're your employees,
Yeah,
literally, that is who is growing this thing and building it. And so it was built for customer engagement, is what Scipio was originally built for, is make sure that you never forget somebody, make sure that they feel like they're number one. So we've just been able to take that and put it internally within companies. And so the way that it helps culture is communication. Everybody's got to agree, and then they can commit, right? But they can't agree until they fully understand. And so we utilize Scipio as a really good communication tool to keep everybody apprised of what's happening and going on.
It's cool. Okay, I want to just change gears here just for a little bit, and I want to ask you, as an entrepreneur and as an investor, what do you think about HR professionals as entrepreneurs? Do you think that HR is the right platform to launch somebody into starting their own business? And when you invest in a company, how much time do you look at the skill set that HR brings to the table? I personally don't think a lot of HR people are thinking of themselves as entrepreneurs, but we're starting to see that change with millennials coming into the HR profession. And so I'm just kind of wondering your professional opinion about HR as an entrepreneur.
Well, I mean, I know some guys that have built some pretty significant HR companies. You guys should talk to Jane Howe. She's just built a beautiful home in Park City. She's from Houston, and she runs a pretty huge HR company. She started in HR, and now she's the owner of a massive HR company. So if it's starting a company, you just have to look at your core competencies as a human being, right? So there's the entrepreneur, which is the great risk taker to do that. So if you're in HR and you have the ability to take risks, because entrepreneurship really means it's a French word that means to try.
Okay.
To just try. And so I'm always been fascinated with entrepreneurship, but there's also a thing called intrapreneurship, which I think that HR people need to actually really pay attention to. That's how do you be innovative and create more value internally inside the company? How do you think of things to be different? How do you continue to, change the way that people learn and grow and be more effective? So that I look at that actually as more of an entrepreneurship, and I think more HR directors actually need to be entrepreneurs, not wait to be told what to do from the CEO, but really take charge and lead that human development within a company, and I would love that. As an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a businessman, I would love that HR person to just run with that. Say like, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's some ideas. And we have a full-time human development guy here, Wen Dunford, who, we go through, he meets with every employee almost every week just to see how they're doing, check in with them, and it's super fun.
That's awesome. So the entrepreneurship, improving where you're at and the control that you have, being a tech guy myself, I immediately think of Skippy is a good example of that, right?
Yeah.
Introduce a new HR technology that can automate a process, involve text messaging in performance management and cultural advancement. Is there a balance that you have to find with introducing new technology, looking to the future with the historic background of a big bureaucratic company? I mean, if you're at a 5,000 plus person company, there's going to be a lot of bureaucracy, and it's going to be difficult to have the full scale of entrepreneurship. So how do you find that balance in a large organization of being creative but also introducing new things?
Well, and I actually don't know if I fully agree with that, because I'm working with some huge companies that are very innovative.
Cool.
And so I don't think it's so much the company as the person leading the charge. So that's my opinion, and not just my opinion. I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you do need to move that battleship, but sometimes you need to drop a couple of destroyers off to go lead the charge and do some skunk works and figure things out. Because we're moving so fast as a society. We're moving so fast in business that if companies don't change, they will die.
Yeah.
And so you got to keep innovating and ideate. Got to keep ideating about every 6 months. Like, hey, where are we going next? How are we doing this? And I think with text messaging, you can communicate that with all of your employees in a very, very clean, clear way.
Yeah. Randy, thank you so very much for all that you're doing to help advance not only the HR industry and introducing text messaging to it, but also all business verticals that are out there. And you guys are doing some amazing things, and we really appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thanks, Jared. Good to be with you.